This is the self-titled podcast of the Golf in Japan website, where you can check essential information in English about golfing in Japan, including more than 2,000 courses. We can help you book your round and make the whole process a whole lot easier. So check out golf-in-japan.com and start planning your Japan golf trip today.
Titleist Club Fitting, the fastest way to better. With a player-focused philosophy on fitting, Titleist offers a range of club fitting experiences from drivers to wedges. Your Titleist fitting specialist, thanks to an unmatched selection of products and technology, along with a wealth of fitting knowledge, will provide you with tour-quality fitting experience that can provide immediate benefits for your game. You can experience a fitting in English while in Japan. Just go to the Golf in Japan website and click on the Titleist banner. Or check the link in the description of this podcast. Titleist, the fastest way to better.
Hey, Golf in Japan, August 16th. This is our I would say our Obon special. Joined today by Damon.
Hello.
Ledge, shooter, a man of many names, Mr. Ryan.
The one and only, yeah. Happy Obon.
Happy Obon. We'll come back to you because I know you probably know what Obon is and can explain it better than everybody. Pro Joe is not here. He is, I believe he went to refresh his French style wardrobe. No, he's at La Golf Nationale playing the Olympic course. Okay, we'll curry back Joe. Hope you listen to this on the plane. Okay, so we'll get...
Sorry, that's it? We're not going to mention anything else about Pro Joe being away? Aren't you allowed to go free game?
You got to check your list, Damon. It's time to air it out. And
that's right. What, do you have something you want to say about him?
No, not really.
I think
he's too much
poor
of a
Joe,
nice
man.
guy.
We've given him stick so much, you know.
We miss you, Joe.
Yeah, I felt bad because the last podcast we kind of got straight into him straight from the get-go. I was like, "Hi, everybody." Jesus, that shirt's very tight.
That was revenge. That you had a revenge card.
He did. He said I got dressed in the dark, which is
not
not fair, really, coming from him.
He should, like Han Solo. He shot first. So
I remember the first time I actually gave Joe stick. Okay, it's coming.
I was about to say, without actually saying anything, we're actually saying quite a lot.
The first time I actually worked with Joe, I suppose it was about 2018, and he was introduced me as this golf pro, and I was at the time I was gathering golf content, and he was giving me this golf article because Joe is a very good writer.
He has a very good blog, right? The Tokyo Golfer.
Yeah, he has a blog called the Tokyo Golfer, and he sent me this great article. It was about golfing in Osaka or whatever, and I think it's still on the Golf in Japan website. But he sent me this picture for his bio bit. And it was like him wearing like tight purple jeans that were about 2 inches too short, no socks. And then he had black velvet shoes on with like these tassels that looked like, like a stripper would used to cover their circular areas. Yeah. And then I couldn't help it. And I just sent him a picture back of these, like on Amazon where you could buy them. And I said, "Is this where you got your nipple tassels?" And from there on, then we used to give each other stick quite
frequently. This is foundational. Yeah.
That was the foundation of the stick giving. And I didn't really know him well. I just couldn't help it.
Just right off the bat.
Yeah.
Well, like he must have gone full native with maybe that's like a Singaporean style because he was in Singapore at that time, or?
No, he'd come from Singapore and he moved to, so not long in Japan, I would say. But anyway, going back to Obon, Ryan, going to test you. What is Obon?
Obon is, or just the Bon, is like a very significant time. I would rate it as like top 3 holidays in Japan in terms of cultural significance, right up there with like Shogatsu around New Year's. Mm-hmm. Obon is a summer holiday, but it's actually kind of similar to like Samhain. We were talking about this, Kieran, like the
Samhain,
Halloween, yeah, which became Halloween, yeah. So it's like a pre-Christian Halloween in the sense that like the same belief that the unseen world and the physical world are in alignment more or less, and so the Japanese will light little fires to welcome back their ancestors, and they'll put out fruits like pumpkins or squash or eggplants and things like that to also welcome back the ancestors to give them reception, and then which they still do. And like when I would hang out with my wife's family, we would do that. They would have things where they're like playing special instruments, walking up and down the streets. Looks like a nice parade. You can kind of imagine that Japanese style, like omatsuri type parade. A lot of dancing around Obon as well, like a special kind of music for it as well. So
cool.
Yeah, it's a cool holiday, and it's quite long. my personal take, this is kind of maybe my 2 cents, is that if you've had family members that you've lost or something like that, right? Which maybe most people have, like, it's difficult to like remember them sometimes. Like, do you think about when were they born or when did they pass? But with Obon in Japan, it's like we all do it at this time, which is actually kind of convenient because like we all want to celebrate our loved ones. And like when everyone's doing it, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do that too. Plus, like everyone's got holidays.
Like a reminder.
Yeah, and everyone's got holidays. So Obon's a big, like, you know.
Except for us, we're working.
we're bringing it live. Yeah.
So, what do you think about going to the cemetery and bringing the spirits of the relatives that have passed and bringing them back home with you?
You are supposed to send them off back at the end of Obon too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between Halloween. I think we mentioned it before. The reason why we have a bonfire is to draw the spirits over there because we don't want them coming into your house, and you would turn the lights off in your house, and then when you go outside, you would dress up so that they didn't recognize you.
Good
So
call.
we're trying to run away from our spirits, but they're inviting them home. That's interesting.
Well, they do send them off as well, but yeah, I think for the most part, it's probably smart to put out some salt.
Yeah, it's amazing how many cultures have the same kind of thing. The what's it? Muerto I can't.
Duerte de Muerte or Dia de los Muertos.
Day of the Dead in
Yeah.
Mexico. It's a
Dios
similar kind
de
of
los
thing, right? It's like that the movie about Miguel on the guitar.
Yeah, that's a good movie. Yeah.
That was a good movie. yeah.
Remember me.
Remember Me. That was it. Thanks for that, Obon. Little lesson. We're going to go to our prefecture of the week. And by the way, today we have a very special guest, and he's tied into the prefecture of the week, which is
Kanagawa prefecture.
nice.
Yep. So located on the east coast of Japan, kind of like south of Tokyo, really, isn't it? On the Pacific Ocean side. But it's known as a port town historically.
It's where Yokohama is.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is. And Yokohama is actually the second biggest city in Japan.
Yeah, it's kind of part of Tokyo. Dare I say?
They
It's
kind of
part
blend
Tokyo.
together, but
They do.
but
Yeah.
Yokohama's got its own panache for
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome
Absolutely.
panache.
But some fun facts. Very famous red brick warehouse called Akarenga, which is really famous.
Yeah, they've got like ice skating in the winter up there.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah, they
real
also
just a
do
cosmopolitan.
Oktoberfest there
Oh, yeah.
as well in April.
Lovely. Hey,
Don't ask me.
you can have a beer at any time.
I've actually been there. But anyway.
How was it? Was it too hot? Was it? Because
No, it was
April's
obviously
quite
very nice.
Yeah, April's a
But
good time.
also Yokosuka. So Yokosuka was one of the very first ports in Japan to open to international trade. And that's why in Yokohama, which is just next door to Yokosuka, is why a lot of the old embassies and consulates
That's right, yeah.
used to be out that way. And since then, it obviously moved into the Tokyo area. But Yokosuka also now has a very large US naval base and also holds the Japanese naval
Force.
force there as well.
They're like in partnership or something.
Yep,
yeah.
so quite substantial.
That's super significant too, because the black ships that came when the Americans ended the Japanese isolation. I just read that the Treaty of Kanagawa was signed there.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, with
Yep.
Commodore Perry, right? He's like a household name in Japan. Yeah.
That's why the longest rugby and cricket club, the YCAC, Yokohama Country Athletic Club, is there because after the black ships, all the foreigners, all the embassies were there. That was their place that they would play their traditional sports.
Yep, that's still there till today, I think.
It is, yeah.
Bit of golf probably came in on that day as well, eh?
Yeah, maybe. But it still has quite a foreign community out there. They have like international schools and shipping. Yep, all that type of stuff. But yeah, it's also very famous and it has one of the largest Chinatowns in the world.
I love it. I love going there.
Yep.
It's like a theme
great.
park. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they really they do it nice. Yeah.
Yep. Also has a samurai heritage spot. Where would that be? Anybody?
Samurai heritage spot.
In Kanagawa
in
Prefecture.
Kanagawa.
And it's not Yokohama.
Nope, not Yokohama.
There must have been a
Come on,
castle there. There
Ryan,
must have been a
come
castle
on.
there.
Odawara.
Kamakura.
Kamakura.
Yeah, Kamakura.
Yeah, so which used to be a very big political center of Japan, and it was the capital for the Kamakura shogunate from 1185 to 1333.
That's a long time
That's a
ago.
long time ago.
It's a good day trip from Tokyo, that place, isn't it?
Yeah,
Although
that's
I
a
heard
beautiful spot.
Yeah, it's got the sand is black.
Yeah, on the beach there.
on the beach. Yeah. So everyone, I used to only go up there. I used to play in a beach house, a hut that only opened in July and August. Be sweating, no air con. Stop doing that.
Yeah. That's a beautiful place.
It's hot
lovely.
down there. It does get hot down there.
It has a
It's
big Buddha as well, right?
It does.
Yep.
Another big Buddha. What are we talking about?
From the temple going all the way down to the beach, there's so many great little shops and small streets. And
Really
stuff.
nice.
Very nice.
It's a great day out for family, tourists, everyone. So yeah, and obviously in Kanagawa, there's so many other spots to go visit, like obviously golf courses, but Odawara, Hakone, they're all part of Kanagawa.
Oh, yeah.
Hakone is in Kanagawa. Yeah, because Hakone is like an old, like, a really old-fashioned, like a long history resort area.
Yeah, for onsen.
Yeah.
For Japanese hot springs, that's right. So it's so many great places to visit there, and we'll get into the golf courses soon. But Kanagawa prefecture.
Love it. Yeah, I used to go out there quite frequently. It does have a different vibe from Tokyo, although it's so convenient. Like you get on a train, I can't remember the line, from like 25 minutes on the express.
Are you talking about, or maybe the Enoden? There's that famous one that runs along the beach called
No,
the
not that
Enoden?
one. Like if you go on from Shibuya, is it the Toyoko Sen or something like that? Toyoko Sen goes straight to Yokohama, boom, and you get off. And you get off at that area you mentioned there earlier where there was a kind of a famous foreign area. Is it Minato Mirai?
Minato Mirai or down there, yeah.
And that's so
Yamashita.
So I used to go there and there was loads of wine shops, lovely bakeries. It's got a French kind of vibe to it. I think there was like some traditional connection to France there. So it's well worth it. It's a lovely place to just stroll around.
Yep. Golf courses then. 50 golf courses about, plus minus there. So not a lot considering how big Kanagawa is. Maybe we're just spoiled because 50 golf courses is still quite significant.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's 5 times more than Tokyo, right?
So there's still quite a lot.
True.
But one very important golf course for us, and again, that is part of who our guest is today, is our partner course, Kanagawa Country Club, out in Sagami, or right near Sagami Core Lake there. 27 holes, east, south, and west.
Yep.
It's big.
An amazing course. And during the pandemic, I mean, we were there every week. It's a bit of a home course for us. So big shout out to all the people at Kanagawa, and we'll welcome Taka in shortly. But it's a great course.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a quirky kind of course. He has a couple of holes that are, I'm sure Taka wouldn't mind me saying this. It's a slightly random. Like he's got a square green, and then he's got a mad uphill par 3 and some other stuff. But then again, it's using the land the way it is. It's presented in front of you. So it's fun. And we've sent, I'll mention it earlier, we send a lot of tourists up there. That was the first place I've ever sent anybody to play golf in Japan, including air courses. And they had a great time. So it's one of those places, very relaxed, mellow. The staff are really nice, welcoming. They're used to foreigners. Food's good. And it's close to Tokyo.
And scenery is beautiful.
Yeah.
In the mountains there. It is. It's only 1 hour from Tokyo, from Shinjuku. And then they'll come and pick you up in the club bus and take you straight to the golf course.
Yeah, it's kind of quirky. It's got a few dog legs. It has a few beautiful holes as well. There's a par 5 that I really like that kind of, it's straight, but it kind of goes slightly uphill, loads of bunkers.
So it has like a good location for transportation or for getting there, but is it kind of like coastal or is it in the mountains? Or is
It's right in the mountains.
It's right in the mountains.
But that's good that's good for the transportation though.
Well, it adds to the uniqueness of it. If you enjoy, I don't really like flat golf courses, and I'm familiar with flat golf courses. I like to see the mountains. I like to be in the mountains. I like valleys, dog legs, challenge up and down. I kind of enjoy that, and that's what Kanagawa has. So it really appeals to me.
No, I love the course. I've played this so many times, and I think if I put all my best holes together, I've played.
You have your best score there.
Even par there. No, it was not there.
I wasn't there.
No.
Okay, I'll take that.
But anyway, it was a Japanese designer by the name of Takemura.
Takemura. Okay.
Sounds kind of unique.
But anyway, as we've spoken about so many times before, the name of a golf course doesn't necessarily mean where it is. Point in fact, the most popular golf course searched on Golf in Japan for Kanagawa Country Club, for Kanagawa Prefecture, is actually a golf course called Tokyo Country Club, which is in Kanagawa. So
good name.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Number 2, Rainbow Country Club. Number 3, Isehare Country Club. Number 4, Hakone Kohan Country Club, which we use quite a lot, and Sagami Ko Country Club. So they're the top 5. But there is so many famous golf courses out in Kanagawa. The most famous is probably Yokohama Country Club.
Yeah, easily.
Totsuka Country Club.
Kamakura
Country Club, which I really like. That's a great course. That's recently been renovated, both the clubhouse and the course.
Nice.
Highly recommend that course. A very friendly foreigner friendly as well. Dai Hakone, great country.
I've played that.
That's a great course.
It's one of my top 10.
Yep.
Daihakone for sure.
And Hakone Country Club, which unfortunately is member, and Sagami Country Club, which is member.
Which is the one that's owned by the Prince?
Well, there's so many. Hakone Kohan, Hakone N, Hakane Yunohana. I think all those 3 are owned by Prince.
Okay. Yeah, they're all foreigner friendly. And if you don't know where Hakone is, it's kind of one of those places. It's up in the mountains, kind of in that kind of Fuji on that side, on the Kanagawa side. And it's much cooler.
Yep.
A lot cooler, like 10 degrees cooler than, say, compared to Tokyo. So people go up there, they have second homes. It's a kind of a wealthy area. John Lennon Museum is up there.
Yeah, that's right.
I've been there. That's
that
good,
weird. Have you been to that weird onsen place?
I have. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, it's I don't know, onsen park or something. It has like onsen's tea flavored and grape flavored, and not that you drink it, but it's like, it's red or it's green and that kind of thing.
Is that the Benesse? Not Benesse. Sorry, it's there's like like I've been to something like that where they have a special bath that's made out of coffee. Or
that's it.
Yeah, or like
That's it's kind
Japanese
of a
sake. Yeah,
yeah. There was all these different ones, outdoor, indoor. You can do all sorts. If onsen's your thing, that's worth
Did you
it.
do the Dr. Fish?
Yeah, I did.
Those are great.
That's freaky, man.
Tickly.
So you get into. I don't think that's a Japanese specific thing, but that was the only place I've ever seen it where you get into a foot bath. So there's like a bench all along around the edge. You sit in it, and about 6 million fish just come over and start eating the dead skin off your feet.
Maybe your feet. But they were like, I put my feet in and they were like,
they had a whiff and just swam away.
No, they were like, this is a perfect feet. There's no need for us to clean
and they
them.
bite you. You can actually feel it. They bite you.
I read an article about these Dr. Fish things a few weeks ago, and it was a story about how from one of these, someone got like a skin bloody bacteria eating thing.
How
They
ironic.
lost a limb.
Oh,
No.
Yeah.
that's no laughing matter.
Okay, so we're recommending
Not
go
to
to
go
the
there.
fish eating one.
Yikes. Yeah,
No, to be honest, it wasn't in Japan, but
I was going to say about I've heard that other countries have it too, but it was like 5 minutes, this much time, and it's like it's all really regimented. What I liked about the place that I did it at too in Japan was like very loosey goosey, but you had a lot of control. Like if you didn't want them biting you, you just pick up your feet. And
people aren't holding you down.
No,
Is that what you mean?
No, it's just like it's just a laugh. Yeah.
Onsen is, you got to do an onsen if you come into Japan.
You
100%.
gotta.
Okay, so Kanagawa, a lot to offer.
It does.
It does. And it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from. How do you get there? We talked about Yokohama, obviously having a direct.
It's
train
not a
from
bad
Shibuya.
drive. I mean, like driving
lovely
from
drive.
driving from Tokyo. I mean, like
it's connected to Tokyo, right? I
Yes.
mean, you could be in Kanagawa prefecture and not even know it, to be honest.
Yeah,
So
totally.
there's a
We've
river,
done
right,
that.
where the Kawasaki is.
Yeah.
And then Kawasaki is Kanagawa, right?
An
which is a-
outlet, river,
And
yeah.
that's, I always consider Kawasaki kind of part of Tokyo. It's like a suburb.
It's funny you said that because one time my wife and I got in the car. We were going to go to an event. She put in the map. She made a mistake and put in the last place that she'd been to, which was in Kanagawa. We drove all the way to Yokohama and didn't realize till we got there. We're like, smells like the ocean. What's going on here? Yeah, like and it turns out
It's pretty quick.
yeah.
Actually, we should mention Umesato Country Club because they're in Kawasaki, which I guess is Kanagawa.
It is.
And if you want to get fit for Titleist clubs while you're in, we've talked about the GT drivers and the SM10 wedges and all that good stuff. And the guy, Michael Smith.
Hey, Mike.
Big shout out to Mike. He listens to the podcast. He's a great teacher, great pro, and he's a great fitter. And he fit all of us originally for our irons, for our my T100s. I don't know what T150.
150s for me.
So if you're going out to Kanagawa, and it really is literally just a couple of stops
Yep.
from Shibuya and that kind of thing. You get off and then you stroll over there, and
It's a
they'll
great
fit you
golf
up.
range. And it is
It's lovely, yeah.
It's actually a partner range as well.
There you go.
There we go.
So check that out. So shout out to Umesato Country Club, and if you go to ranges on Golf in Japan, you'll be able to find Umesato Country Club details there. But of course, reach out to us if you want to get fitting, check out the Titleist banners and the Titleist landing page, and then you can get all the info there.
I'm glad you mentioned Titleist because Damon got me turned on to the Titleist University. Basically, Titleist University went way over my head. Like it's but check out my notes here. I can speak with authority now. I've got the
Jesus.
I understood the G23, the G22, the G24. When you guys were talking the GT, sorry. When you guys were talking about it before, I was like, what's the difference? But now I understand. Like GT2 is for speed and like, consistency.
Yeah, they're all basically different. They do different things. Some are more forgiving for like, people who drive the ball and break their drivers like me. People who are more like Pro Joe who, absolutely hit it flush every time.
Yeah. Or just a half swing.
Even with just a half swing. He still gets it out there though. Shout out to Pro Joe.
So does that
hashtag half swing.
Is there like a bit of pride where it's like, I've got the GT3 or I've got the GT4?
100%.
Oh, you use a GT2, huh?
100%. And it's the same with irons as well. It's like there's the blades and then there's the cavity backs. And if you've been playing cavity backs for a while, you think, my game's getting better. I want to graduate from the cavity backs and start playing blades. It may not be the club for you.
Yeah.
And to be honest,
I followed into that trap many times.
I did as well. So that's the point about the fitting, though, I think. To go into the fitting and let them do their job.
It's like going to the doctors.
It's like a diagnosis.
You just can't.
Diagnose
you can
yourself,
walk into any golf shop and buy any golf club you want, right? And then you can show off and you can flex or whatever. But when you go into a fitter, it's like going to the doctor. He's there to help you. You gotta just bear it all. And then they fit you for a club that's going to get you the best performance and the best scores, right? So which do you want? Do you want to look the part or do you want to play the part? In Joe's absence, I am going to talk a little bit about are you done? Did you want to talk more about? No? Okay. So we'll talk a little bit more about the what's been happening in the world of golf. So Aaron Rai, you familiar with Aaron Rai?
I watched it.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did.
What did you think?
Well, I wasn't sure he was going to win.
Yeah, that's true. There was a few Rorys going on, and
wasn't there? What? Jeez. No, but good play to him. He played pretty consistent the whole tournament. So great to see him win. To be honest,
it was an interesting tournament. So it was the Wyndham Championship, and you had Hurricane Debbie ripping through the US there, and it cancelled Thursday's round, and Saturday was also delayed due to the heavy rains, and there was a mad deluge on Friday night as well. So there was some players that actually played, I think, a bit of their second round, all of their third round, and a bit of their fourth round on Sunday, which is that must be some sort of.
It's really late, right?
Yeah, it was interesting, but yeah. So Aaron Rai, who was the eventual winner, very interesting about him. He's a guy who wears two gloves. So I remember back in the day there was a guy called Tommy Two Gloves Gainey. I don't know if anyone remember him, but he was the guy who used to wear two gloves on the at all times. Usually golfers only wear one. So not only does he wear two gloves, and he gets a lot of stick for wearing two gloves, he also puts head covers on all of his irons. I've
never done that.
Do you do that?
To be honest, when I get a brand new set,
yeah, you want to keep them nice.
Got to keep them nice.
Well, that's exactly why
you get out what you put in. You get out what you put in.
That's exactly why he did it. So it's a really interesting, it's a really heartwarming story. So everybody, now that he was in the limelight, everyone's asking him, why do you put the head covers on your, you're some sort of geek or whatever. And he was saying, look, we didn't come from much. My parents couldn't afford, to send me to, have the best clubs and all, but they made sure I had them. And he had, his membership. He was able to play in as much golf as he wanted and get better. And he really, when he got his dad used to like kind of scrape together enough money to buy a really nice set. And he got a set of Titleist irons. Forgive me for which ones, the M something, I think they were. And he wanted to protect them. He used to, put a head cover on every single club. And
he's a good boy.
Apparently his dad used to, after every round, he would get like a little pin and oil, and he would just make sure all the grooves were intact, and then he put the cover back on. And he says to kind of remind him of where he comes from to this day. Like you get free club every day if you wanted, right? Free set of clubs fitted for him in the truck. But he just does that to remind him where he comes from and to really appreciate the stuff that he has. So fantastic.
It's a good life lesson,
It is. It's amazing. So that was that one. And I really liked that story. And I thought, and it's his first win. He's 28 years old. I think he had won on the European Tour beforehand. So that was really nice to see. Yeah, so that was that. And then there was one other big incident, and I'll kind of explain this to you. And I'm sure Joe would have something to say about this. One was about Matt Kuchar. So bizarrely, he was in the final group. So Matt Kuchar is an old kind of stalwart of the PGA Tour. He hasn't won in a while. Nice guy, always has a smile on his face. People like him. And so they were, because of Hurricane Debbie, they were struggling to get the round done, the final round done on Sunday. So it's getting dark. They're probably too dark to play. Well, twilight, kind of getting dark. And so the second to last group, which had Ryan in it, were winning. He was winning. He was up the fairway, in the middle of the fairway. Matt Kuchar goes ahead and tees off into them first of all. On purpose. Goes to the left.
What?
Goes to the left, and I'll explain. It goes to the left, and then so the other boys in front are like, okay, whatever. They get to the green. They do their second shots. They go to the green. Then Matt Kuchar goes up and says, "I don't want to play. I'm finished the rest of the round. I want to finish it off tomorrow."
He's lost some fans from that.
Yeah.
That was shocking.
Occasionally, I'll explain to you, Ryan. Eventually, because of fading light, they'll blow a horn and everybody marks their ball where it is, and they'll come back the next day and they'll play it. But because it was a Sunday, everyone's pushing to get finished because you've got to go to the next tournament, you got to catch your flights, blah blah blah. So Matt Kuchar, the only one on the golf course, and he says to this young guy who's playing with him, who's a kind of a rookie on tour, and he says, "If I was you, I'd follow suit with me and just mark your ball." And the guy just, okay, whatever, and he hits it onto the green. Matt Kuchar marks the ball, tells the ref, "I'm not playing. I'm going to come back tomorrow." Meanwhile, up at the green, Aaron Rai wins. Obviously, Kuchar's 12 shots back. He can't win.
Yeah.
He's not even in the money, I don't think.
Well, I mean, they all get something, right? But I think I don't know where he finished, but I'm sure he got some cash. And he came back on his own.
I think it's
on
terrible.
Monday, which is kind of weird because it takes everybody's talking about that instead of saying Aaron Rai, first time winner on the PGA Tour. What a story he is. And by the way, Aaron Rai, I hope he's on the next Ryder Cup because he's great.
They had to get all the staff to, not all the staff. The staff had to stay. They couldn't open everything they had scheduled for that day.
Can you imagine the conversation with wives where it's like, "Yeah, babe, don't worry. The storm has been rough, but don't worry, I'll be able to come back at this time." And it's like, "Oh, sorry.
You wouldn't believe it. One person
One more
staying on, I need
day.
to stay another day."
So technically,
Unlikely excuse.
and I don't think that's ever happened before. Like they come back for one person. But anyway, he went on Monday and he got a par on himself. Finished.
And who gave a shit?
Well, I don't
Nobody.
know. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously he did, but he probably thought it was good par. But I think he thought he was teaching the young guy something like, "Oh, it's too dark to play.
Control the game. Yeah.
We should control the game." But again, like that young guy is
If he
probably
was
thinking,
in-
"I
if
don't
he
want to
was
pay
in
for
the-
another night at the
No.
hotel."
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
also like, just keep that. Isn't the whole thing about golf? It's like, let's pick it up a little bit, like, because it has a tendency.
Well, he teed off. That was the bizarre thing. Like he wouldn't have had to tee off if he had said, "I'm on the tee box. It's too dark for me now." But he teed into them,
I don't even know why.
which
he
is
did it.
dangerous.
I was going to say that seems
He-
rude.
He didn't
could've-
teach the guy a good lesson doing that.
He couldn't have called like, "I'm not playing anymore" before he teed off?
I think so.
Or do you have to tee off then pick your ball?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't
So
think so.
I don't even understand why he teed off.
So I think it's down to the players, right?
Yeah.
So if the players tee off, that means they usually want to get finished,
Yeah.
right? Especially on that circumstance, they won't blow the horn because it's the last day. If it was a Saturday, there'd be a horn blown. Everybody marks the ball wherever they are. If you're on the tee box, wherever, you come back the next day, fine. But he teed off, which indicates I want to get finished in the round.
But he teed off into the group.
Teed off into the group, then got
Yeah.
down and decided not to play, which is just
It's just
bizarre.
the whole thing's bizarre. Yeah.
Anyway, so good to see Billy Horschel. I like Billy Horschel. He's cool, and he was really he was doing the tiger fist pump at the side of the green when Aaron Rai won. So
Wholesome.
for your fellow competitor, that's awesome.
Yeah, very wholesome.
On to the Olympic golf. So I think last week I might have remiss. I said, "Oh, the Olympics is finished. The Olympics men's competition was finished, but obviously we still had the Olympic female competition to play, and that was really, really good."
That was a good finish.
Did you guys watch it? Yeah. I mean, I'm a big Lydia Ko fan, and it's amazing to think she came out when she was like 15 on tour, and she was just winning everything. And I think she was the youngest person to ever get to the world number one. I think she was 16, 17. She won like a string of tournaments and majors and everything. And she's another unique thing now. She has the full collection. So she won the
She's got
gold.
the rainbow, isn't she?
She won the gold.
wow.
She got the bronze in Tokyo, and she got the silver in Brazil.
Yeah.
So
or
with golf, it does
Rio.
seem like you would have a longer Olympic career. You know, like something like gymnastics. It's like
I
you
mean,
get like 2
most
shots.
golf, you
right?
have a long career anyway. I mean,
True.
but you still have to qualify, so you have to stay on top of your game to be the best. But I mean, she's from New Zealand, so
Yeah. We've only got 2 golfers down there.
Yeah.
so
I'm
anyway,
allowed to say that I'm Australian.
yeah. Well, the other good thing about her was she took the gold medal, right? But then she became the most decorated golfer, male or female, in the history of Olympics. Said that, okay. Also, she got the 27th point that she needed to be inducted into the LPGA Hall of Fame at just 27 years old.
Oh, awesome.
I can't believe she's only
Good on her.
27. She's been there for ages. There was whispers of her retirement because she just got married last year and she's been around a long time. Like she's been on tour since she's 15. She's now 27. It's just still most golfers like Scotty Scheffler is older than her, but no way near, as accomplished as she is now. Although he's getting there with his gold medal. So it'd be sad to see her retire, but I can see maybe she wants to step away from the game, I hope she doesn't. She is due to play in the Scottish Open and the British Open, which is St Andrews, but yeah, there's whispers that she might be pulling the plug on her professional career. And
What a way to finish.
I hope she wins. If she wins at St Andrews at the old course, in the British Open, that'd be awesome. Yep. But I remember Ai Miyazato. I thought she was like world number 1. She was kicking ass, and then I think she had one kind of iffy season, and she retired. Which is Lorena Ochoa. She was another one.
Both of them, they retired for family to start families. So.
I mean, but like you see Brittany Lincecum. She was playing on tour and she was pregnant with her second baby. Her husband's in the sideline with the stroller, and she's waving over, and she's like 7 or 8 months pregnant, and she was like top 20.
She's got like that. She's got like that practice ball, which you like squeeze between your arms to help perfect your swing. She's got that built in. Yeah.
She was swinging very, lightly, I should say. But it is possible for women to back off the game, have children and come back. A lot of them have done it. So if that's the case, then hopefully she comes back. But she has achieved so much. She's already in the LPGA Hall of Fame at 27 years old. So well done for her. Esther Henseleit from Germany took the silver, and Lin Xiu from China took the bronze. First Olympic medals for both of their countries, I think. Maybe Germany got one back 100 years ago when it used to be played, but I'm not sure. There's no LPGA event this week, but they will go to the ISPS Scottish Women's Open in Ayrshire next week, I think, and the Women's British Open at the Old Course of St Andrews. So still some big golf left to play this year. There was no live, but there was a bit of live golf news about Graham McDowell, my countryman. He's from Northern Ireland. He violated the league's anti-doping policy during Live Golf Nashville by using a decongestant, I should say that again, decongestant medicine that included a banned substance or methamphetamine.
He used meth?
Well, a lot of that stuff is in like...
McDowell explained in a social media post that he took a generic Vicks nasal decongestant without realizing it might be on the banned list. Yep. And he was fined $125,000 and he will miss the next tournament.
Yeah. American medicine, like you don't mess around, man. Like I've had multiple people tell me like when they come to Japan or whatever, they miss the medicine from back home. Like American medicine is pretty strong.
So what they tested him?
Yeah, they've must be testing, and he's come out and he's praised Liv. It was a bit like you remember when they were all moving over to Liv and they were saying they were doing it to grow the game. It was a little bit contrived, I must say. And he was saying, I have nothing but to praise the integrity of the anti-doping and testing that was going on tour, and Liv is a legitimate kind of thing. So I appreciate that they do that. I completely support the decision, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so that was interesting. That was a little bit of Liv
controversy.
Yeah.
Well, talking about Liv, so Liv's playing this weekend.
Where are they playing?
They are playing in Greenbrier.
Okay, as in the Greenbrier Classic, which used to be on the PGA Tour.
Pass.
Okay.
But last year, Bryson hit 58 at the Greenbrier.
Nice.
58.
Wow.
So there's a lot of obviously hype around this weekend's Live tournament there and seeing what Mr. DeChambeau can do and if he can do it again.
Speaking of him, his recent thing that's been really successful on social media is him playing with the other guy that I like, Jim Daly. or Daly?
Daly.
John Daly.
Johnny
Should I
D.
take that again?
Johnny D. Yeah.
Guy I really like, Jim the Hound.
The guy I'm always talking about, Reverberate. Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't really pay attention to his name. I just like his.
I just seen a clip,
smoking.
and John Daly was ripping darts and in his bare feet.
Yeah.
I love it.
He does it all the time.
It's so
he's-
funny.
He
he's
does
awesome.
it. So John Daly, I mean, he's a legend of the sport.
Yeah,
Like he said, he's like, I've got a great future behind me, son. Is like, somebody
Yeah.
said.
And his son is a really good player too.
Oh.
yeah. He's a college player. I think he's in his second or third year, but he's already a kind of a winner. They won that father and son, the PNC,
Oh.
about 2 years ago, was it?
Oh, a bit more than that, I think.
Little John, although he doesn't like to be called Little John anymore, the big unit, but he's John Junior. So John Daly, the second or third, I guess.
Yeah. But no, I did see that posted with DeChambeau and John Daly. It's on my watch list for tonight, maybe.
Nice.
So it looks good. But the golf course is the Old White at the Greenbrier.
Okay. Okay, we'll check it out.
So that's this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Yep, starting today.
starting tomorrow.
It's today when this comes out.
Yes.
Sorry, lastly about the Olympics, I just wanted to gauge, do you think that it went more for the women than the men? You were watching all of it.
Mhm.
I felt like the women were really, really pushing hard towards the end. I could feel that. I could just feel the tension through the screen. I think it means a lot to them. It means a lot to the men as well. I think that we've got our fifth major, even though it's only every 4 years, but it's it's such a good thing. I still say that they should do a mixed event and have a chance for more medals.
a live style event,
Could be. Why not?
like team.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or rider, whatever you want to call it.
A mixed two ball. would
Yeah,
be-
100%.
With best ball or
You know
whatever.
what?
Oh, it'd be so good.
For a
Yeah.
casual watcher, it would be more interesting if it was like a team, because then it's about the country,
Exactly.
and because individuals, even now, it still feels like it's a little bit more about the individual, because they'll be competing with their own countrymen.
Yeah, but I mean, golf is an individual sport.
It is. And I
Historically,
mean,
right?
I have to say, I can't complain about the format because it was so good and I was so invested in it. But I still think that it would just, they could change it. They could change it for the next Olympics because that's the good thing about the Olympics. The IOC, they do make changes. And I think a mixed double event could be, you could even also bring competitor if they didn't want to play too much golf. You could bring one competitor for the singles and one competitor for the mixed. Why not? Or two competitors, I should say, be a team. But I think they could really get something special.
That'd
Team
actually
golf
be
is where it's
good.
at.
If you play the singles, you can't play the doubles, for example.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, something like that. That'd be good.
So like you have like say Rory McIlroy playing the singles, he's our best player from Ireland, and then you might have Lowry playing with one of the top female players.
Mhm.
So why not? And I
Feels
think
good.
that'd be cool. And maybe someone else could get a look in as well. Then someone who maybe didn't make the team because it's very limited amount of players, and just bring them in. I think it'd be awesome.
Yep, I
Love
agree.
to see that. Okay, cool. Moving on. Back into Japan here on the Japan men's tour. So the Titleist brand ambassador Ren Yonezawa came from behind to shoot a bogey 364 to win the Yokohama Minato Championship Fujiki Centennial. Jesus, say that twice. His second JGTO title in 3 months. Interestingly, 29 players played with the new GT driver in the back.
Wow.
Yep. Just so you know, the GT2 was the most popular driver. 14 of them were playing.
Wow.
Because I have the GT2.
So do I.
Yeah. So and it's funny enough. There was talk of the most. It is the most played driver on the Japan tour now.
Is that right?
Yep. And Vokey wedges are the most played wedge on the domestic tour as well. I'm not sure about the Pro V1 setup, but I'm sure Pro V1
Must be.
must be. So Titleist doing a good shit at the Titleist,
Yeah,
dominating over
dominating.
Japan. Well done. And then the women's JLPGA, they were at the NEC Karuizawa 72 golf tournament. Joe's favorite, and probably mine too, Yui Kawamoto, the singer we always mention on the podcast. So she won with 11 under. She almost bottled it though. She was 1 over on the last day, but she prevailed by 1 stroke over 3 ladies, including Sakura Koiwai, who has been super strong this year. So well done to Yui Kawamoto. I think that's it for professional golf, at least in my radar. So I think yeah, we're gonna have a special guest in keeping with Kanagawa. We're gonna send it over to Taka in a moment, but I think we should mention there's a massive storm.
Number 7 or is it number 6?
Typhoon number 7, yeah.
Yeah. So coming.
I thought it was
Tokyo.
downgraded to a tropical depression or something like that, but maybe not. Everyone's freaking out that they're announcing that the trains are closing, all the golf courses. You've had a massive cancellations, which is a shame for people who travel to Japan only to find out that their golf, which they booked 2 or 3 months ago, was cancelled because of a typhoon. But of course, we'll when that happens, we'll try and put them out if they have a bit of flexibility in the schedule. You bet your
we'll try and rebook them somewhere else. But shout out to Morris. I mean, these poor guys have been looking forward to it. They got out to Narashino country, which is where they have the PGA Zozo Championship. They even got a hotel close by. And unfortunately, we got the call this afternoon that they're not going to open tomorrow. So, bad luck.
Bummer. Yeah, well, I hope they get back out and it doesn't ruin their Japan trip. And the good thing about these things, they just blow through in a day.
Yeah.
And a half.
When
this one will blow through for sure, but it's going to blow pretty hard and a lot of rain.
Yeah, I was actually on my way to the office today, cycling out now. It's blue skies.
Yeah.
The sun is splitting the trees out there.
The
They were
calm before
strapping
the
down
storm.
the trees
Yeah.
over there because it is a kind of a new building, right? But they're fully grown trees. And they were strapping them down. I was like, okay, never seen that before.
Yeah.
So batten down the hatches for number 7 coming in tomorrow, which is today if you're listening to this podcast on Friday.
And it is unusual that we get a typhoon actually hitting Tokyo. Usually it's a little bit more south, a little bit more north, but
the last one didn't even landfall, did it? It kind of spun off. Oh no, it went to Hokkaido last week.
Yeah, but even last season we had hardly anything come through. So, and this is just the beginning of the typhoon season.
Yep.
I mean, we're up to 7 now. So, I mean, we normally get up to the mid-20s.
Wow.
Yep.
So keep a little flexibility in your schedule is all we're saying.
Yeah.
You know, if you're coming for 2 weeks and you're going to have a bit of golf on day 2, you might want to, just in case, have a rain day as well.
Yeah, but for all you surfers out there down at Kujikuri and Onjuku, Kamakura, it's going to be pretty good waves, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Did you see in the Olympics the surfing was in
Tahiti.
Now, when they did it in Japan, there was, all that week, it was just so quiet. And then a typhoon it didn't even landfall. It was off the coast, send this big swell in just for the Olympics in Japan, if you remember. They weren't huge, but they were like, say 7-foot size waves. They were able to have a good
decent.
competition.
Good, yeah.
But how you getting on with the new GT driver?
Yeah, so I played with it for the first time last week. Overall score, let's just say it was under 100.
Okay.
But driver, amazing. I've definitely got more yards with it. The other woods, I've got a 4 and a 7. Mega.
Yeah, I've been hitting it really straight, and the 7 wood is going. The 7 wood is almost going as far as the driver.
Yeah, the 7 wood is my best club in the bag.
Isn't it weird?
I'm not hitting 240, but
I definitely, what promotes the confidence? It kind of goes down in a V. Did you notice that?
Yeah,
and you feel like you have more, you have more grooves. I don't know what it is. I just feel like I want to hit this.
It looks better. It sits
Bang
better. It
does.
feels better. I don't know. Just love it.
And is there any golf happening after the typhoon?
After typhoon, I might play Sunday. Not totally confirmed yet. You?
You know what? I'm going to do an early bird probably. I want to get out early and come
Saturday.
back. Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, Sunday I'm going to go out and play an early bird. I might go to one of the usual haunts. Tokyo Bayside. Yeah, I just put a video out about the last time I played there.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, put it up on Instagram because I thought it was really nice. You could see Fuji.
Yep.
Then I was like, I'm going to play there this weekend, so I think I'll go on.
You've already booked?
Haven't booked.
Yeah, good luck.
I did. I had a quick gander and there was an early bird.
Oh,
It could be gone. If not, I'll go somewhere else. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, early bird for you is what time?
I like to play at 6.
Right. Okay.
So get up at 5, play at 6. No warm up. Just have a coffee and just go out there and just have a good time. Try and play through. Finish around 9:30 if can. Maybe probably more realistic around 10. And that's it. You go back and you miss the traffic, and then you have a bit of lunch with your family and you play with your kids, whatever you need to do. So I love the early bird. And you beat the heat. I'm not good with the sun. We've established that. Okie dokes, lads. Well, without further ado, I think we'll hand it over to our very special guest. and don't get washed away in the typhoon tomorrow. So thanks very much, guys, and sayonara.
Sayonara. See you, boys.
Okay, well, it's a special guest time, and in keeping with this week's theme of Kanagawa, we have the president of Kanagawa Country Club and long-term collaborator and friend, Mr. Taka Hirai. Welcome, Taka.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You know, back in 2019, when I decided to kick off the Golf in Japan booking service again, the first golf course that we worked with was Kanagawa Country Club. And I think I sent 2 female guests, or was it the 4 Aussies? That was the first one we sent up. You met them personally, I remember. But so thanks for your support for the last 5 years.
Not a problem.
It's been great to see the development of the club under your leadership. I suppose where we'll start, though, is maybe if you can give us some sort of background, maybe on Kanagawa Country Club, on the founding of it, and maybe a description of the course itself.
Yep. Thank you. So Kanagawa Country Club was founded in 1968. It was open in April April 26. It was founded originally by my grandfather.
Nice.
Our family background is kind of interesting. We come from a kimono company. So my grandfather, after World War II, made his fortune on kimonos, and I never got to meet my grandfather, but I hear that he was very entrepreneurial and very international. He traveled to Lebanon, to Brazil, to all these places all over the world at that time, which is was kind of rare. And I think he saw the opportunities in golf in every country where he went to, because obviously there was probably golf courses around at that time already in those places. And he came back to Japan, and it was one of the things that he was trying to do. He had a import company for sailboats and other printing companies and everything else too, which I hear, apart from his kimono company. And he, not sure why he chose Kanagawa, that Fujino area. But this was actually even before the Chuo Expressway was even extended to that area. So not sure if he even knew that the plans were there, but he chose this area. And we opened with actually an 18-hole golf course, which later, within 2 years' time, he made it into 27. Again, I think looking into the future, I think he felt that there was a great opportunity, and to maximize that, he made it into 27 holes.
Nice. And how long does it take to get from Tokyo on the Chuo? The Chuo is the motorway, by the way, that goes straight out of Tokyo.
Oh, yes. So it's about, I'd say, an hour going at an easy pace with no traffic. But usually there's no traffic going that way on the weekdays because everybody's trying to come into Tokyo. But on the weekends, it could take about an hour and a half with traffic.
If you're Damon in a Tesla, how long does it take?
It takes probably 45 minutes. There you go. The ambassador of Colombia actually made it in 35 minutes once from the Colombian embassy in Meguro.
Really? By chopper?
By a BMW, actually.
Shout out to BMW.
Yeah.
Very nice. Cool. And the history of golf in Japan everywhere started off as a membership course, and then they kind of transitioned into kind of public courses, what we would consider public courses. How many members do you have up there, and are you busy all the time? Do you get a lot of visitors as well?
So at our peak, we had about 5,500 members.
Wow,
which is a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
5,500. Wow.
Yeah. So, but we're down to now 2,000. We're kind of low in the sense that in general, the way you calculate here in Japan, how many members you should have is 100 members per hole.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're just about, we're going just low about, the number is kind of low on our side, but it's a good ratio now because, like you said, we're not a full membership course. We're not full public course. We're kind of in the middle right now.
Right.
And it has helped me in the transition of taking over from my father, because if it was too much of a member course, I think I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the changes that I'm currently doing now, which circle around trying to make it more accessible for the younger generation.
That's cool.
Which is really important. I mean, especially with a lot of the courses, their members are of a lot older age.
Let's talk about that for a second. So, yeah, in Japan, and I have experience as well. Things are done the old way. I mean, considering most golf courses were only made in the bubble, right? They've got an old way of doing things. It's 30, 40 years old now, and they don't like social media, and even how they do their bookings and sales is totally shouldn't be done that way now. So how, as a young guy, and you are a young guy, how do you try to shake it up and to kind of lead it into the new era of golf in Japan?
I think the reason why a lot of the golf courses here in Japan are still old school is because of the management. Even
they're old.
Yeah, in my golf course still, we have people that used to work for my grandfather at one point. Traditionally, it's just difficult to kind of shift that. The management is old, the members are old, it's just, I would say that at every step, even not only in the golf course business, but in business in general, you kind of get the acceptance from all parties. Very, Japan being very political in every aspect of it, and so for me too, like when I took over last year in September, I had all these ideas of what I want to do. Again, I'm in my 40s right now, my beginning of my 40s, and I felt that golf in Japan, like you said, I grew up seeing, golf in the US, and it's so much more progressive thanks to Tiger and what he has started. Mm-hmm. You see the fashion. I think fashion is one of the biggest keys in getting the game younger again. You see a lot of brands in the US that have shifted into being more street style. You see Nike. I mean, You see Puma, for example. Everybody's trying to be more hip, and I think the colors and everything else too. You kind of saw that trend here in Japan, but again, there was one brand called Pearly Gates, which a lot of the golf courses wouldn't even allow that brand to be, used in, or you can't wear that brand.
Is that right?
Specifically, in certain golf courses.
Was Jason Day wearing it?
No, that was Melbourne.
So they were kind of the pioneers in the golf brand business, which I think has widely been accepted by not only the young generation, but I'd say the 50s and 60s year olds in Japan, which like to follow the trend too. So that's changed the whole dynamic in I think in golf in general in Japan.
I mean, fashion is so big in Japan, really, isn't it?
It is.
So, I mean, I think a lot of the younger generation, they resonate with it a lot. So moving that into golf as well, like you said, I think is a massive key.
And not to be offensive with Pearly Gates, they were just loud, to be honest with you. They used Bart Simpsons and the and other characters in their wear, but I think the current brands that they have now is more street, more casual, more relaxed, but still fits the younger generation. So I think that has really helped again to propel the younger generation to come.
And I suppose you yourself, your one of your first projects that you did do was your pro shop. Tell us a little bit about that.
Correct. So there's a brand called CPH Golf here in Japan. I think they started originally as a camping wear. The founder and designer and the main designer is a good long-term friend of mine. Okay. And when I told him about my vision of what I want to do with golf and the golf industry in the whole, he suggested that we do a collaboration for his brand, with his brand and my golf course, which we were able to do. We just did the launch actually the beginning of this month. And it's actually for them, it's an important milestone too, because it's the first time they ever have a physical store selling their clothes. They're only online too. So yeah, it's been beneficial for both of us, and we did a very successful launch party. Again, we had DJs come in. We had, I think, the average age of the golfers that came to play for that day's tournament was like in their 30s. So a very young crowd that came out. DJ, a couple of media came out and they said, they've never seen a party like this. Well done. Again, it was in a high budget launch, but it was done very well. And
I seen it on Instagram. It looked amazing.
Yeah, so good.
Well done. Congratulations.
Shout for CPH and for Che for making it all happen.
Cool. We did actually mention it when I think we were recording it or the day before, and he was like, yep, I'm going to head up. And then the Tesla broke down.
The Tesla didn't break down. The tires blew out.
Don't give you that. The batteries fell off it. They're still on the Chuo somewhere. You've got your new pro shop. What else are you planning?
So, now my kids are very young still. They are 6 and 2. And growing up in Japan, as a golf course owner, I actually didn't go to the golf course at all. My youngest memories, I think, are in my teens. I think I was brought there, at a younger age to just go show my face. But in terms of like, grabbing a club and hitting some balls and just, getting introduced to golf, the game of golf, I don't have any memories. And if there were any, they were probably bad memories. So I erased them from what I had. So I want to make it more accessible for the younger generation, even before, I'd say there's not many golf courses here in Japan that are family friendly, let's say. Again, going back to the US, where I get a lot of my ideas, is that, US is centralized by having a lot of country clubs. It's not a golf course. In Japan, 99.9% of all the courses here are golf courses.
Yep.
Versus country clubs. Even they're called country clubs, they don't understand, and they don't even know what the country club system is. And obviously it doesn't fit here in Japan either, because, usually there's a country club in every community, where people go there, as a family on the weekend, not to play golf, but to play tennis, to work out, to have fun, to see your friends, to just hang out in general. Because, there's not much land here in Japan, especially in the Tokyo, Kanto area. You don't have many golf courses that are very close to, I'd say, the community or the places you're living. So it's very difficult in terms of building a country club. But again, I got my vision from Soho. So Soho in England, they have this thing called Soho Lakeland, Lake Club, where they have I think it was in Cambridge or something. I forgot where it is, but it's about an hour and a half away from London. Where the members in London can go into the lake house, to the lake house on the weekends, and kind of enjoy a real kind of like British like country club outside kind of area with like a lake and but done very well. So what I'm trying to do is kind of the same thing where it's difficult to kind of enjoy the real Japan now. Unless you come from some different prefecture outside of Tokyo and this and that, but where you can see, where you can eat good food, fresh foods, and just enjoy the quiet, what we call the inaka areas.
Countryside,
yeah. And I want to kind of integrate that with the country club kind of model, where families can come in the weekend. You don't have to play golf. There's a lot of arts and crafts near the area where we have the golf course, where you can come and, do some farming, where you can do several things that just enjoy the quiet countryside life, on the weekends. And of course, always play golf too. There's so many things around where we can do with the seasons that we have here in Tokyo, Japan too. So, I think, I don't know exactly what, that would look like at this point, but,
I heard you're starting, which I think is the correct way, by building a new bar.
Yeah. That is definitely in the first design so we have a nice, deck in our golf course. It's probably the nicest, with the nicest view.
It's lovely.
Yeah. Our country club our golf course sits on top of a mountain, literally. I don't know if it's a mountain or a hill, but the clubhouse itself is in the highest point of the entire golf course, and it has very, very nice scenery. So what I'm trying to do is hopefully revamp the deck with the bar.
Gotta get the bar, man.
And then just have that as the first step of having families come in. Where the dads can play 9 holes, the moms can just be having a drink up in the terrace with the
or vice versa,
or all together, and then the kids can just be introduced to golf. Or again, there's places where you could do arts and craft nearby. Then there's some fishing areas nearby too. So I think there's a lot of things that the kids can do and enjoy, which I do with my son already. I take his him and his some of his friends to the golf course. I'm going to see if I can package something up for next year where they can come.
I mean, Japan is sorely missing a proper junior golf program in every golf course. And you look at how well they're doing now, especially the girls in LPGA. It's a wonder because there's really nothing for the kids, really. I mean, some, of course, do pioneer, so it'd be good to see if you can make a nice junior program.
That's actually something we get inquiries about.
Yeah, for sure.
From our customers coming into Japan. You know, traveling with our kids. Can we get our kids into a 2 or 3 day program while we're here?
I think it's also the way the Japanese play here, and just in general. You know, I try to teach, you know, people that are getting introduced to golf. I think in Japan in general, when you want to start to play golf, you got to start at the driving range, and you got to get to a certain point, which I don't even know what it is, which what they usually say is about 120 before they could get on the golf course.
I think it's about the strike, isn't it? When we can start getting it out there a bit, then you can you're not going to hold anybody up. But there's no substitute as well. You're never going to learn all the rules of the stuff that you need to do until you go out.
Correct.
And I think that's why a good junior program does it, because I've seen what Joe does or what, you know, Brian
Mike
Joseph
Smith.
does. They get all the kids out and they get them to play in order, and then they're having fun. They're playing a scramble or whatever. But that's the way you do it. But yeah, good that you're doing that. So well done. And you're a great golfer yourself. I know that. I know that you play really well on your own course. What's your handicap currently?
I actually don't play the best at my golf course anymore.
Really?
I think that my golf course is one of those golf courses where you think you birdie every hole, and so you go for it.
And it punishes you.
It could punish you in harsh ways. There's an OB or one penalty at every hole, so it's difficult. Like if I just played with irons, I'd probably play really well all the time. But it's just that you want to just one on every single hole when there's, you know, proper traps there. So
it's amazing how far this guy hits it, considering he's, as Joe would say, a human 7-iron. You get it out there, son.
But yeah, I've been playing fairly well last 4 rounds. I'd say.
Bit of an international jet set. You've been playing all over the place, haven't you? Every continent in the world this year, maybe.
Very true, very true. But I think it's this. Yeah, it's just seeing a lot of good players. You know, play in front of me that has been has lowered.
Who's your favorite player? Of course, Tiger's number one, but apart from Tiger,
you know, I'd say in general, I like DeChambeau a lot now. I wasn't a big fan of him, to be honest with you, until this year. But it's just that I just see what he's trying to do for the game of golf in general.
Yeah, it's amazing.
With all the content that he makes, with the creativity he has with the content, because usually golf content is just watching a bunch of guys either be serious about the game or complete wackos, right? So it's either or. And
we don't know where we live yet, but somewhere in between.
Yeah. So, but he plays it very well in going in between and can quickly shift from one side to the other.
Yeah.
So it just makes everything more interesting. And just in general on the golf course too, right? His fan service is just amazing. He spends a lot of times with the fans.
That's good.
Which is difficult to do. And then also just why he plays, you know, it's like, I don't know why not showing emotions in a sport is a bad thing, you know. And I feel like, you know, he's been criticized a lot of times for his emotions. When I think when Tiger was at his peak, everybody loved what he did, you know, the fist pump, the screaming, the celebrating and all. I mean, you're playing a sport. We got to forget, you know, again, don't quote me on this, but I know that baseball used to be a gentleman's sport where they played with ties and they couldn't even walk and spit and everything else. And now look what baseball has become. And I think golf needs that involvement right now. And I think people like Bryson and you know others can really lift the game up. You know,
it's funny you should mention that. Just kind of back to your we're talking about the fashion. I was having dinner the other night at this kind of cool place, and right across the street, this was in Ebisu, was Eastside Golf. Are you familiar with that brand?
Of course.
Yeah, so they had all the, like, you know, all the kind of all the shoes were like Jordans and you know, quite expensive stuff actually, but very, very cool, colorful stuff they had, and everybody who was shopping in the shop were young women. I'm talking in their 20s, early 20s.
That's what got your interest, or?
Yeah, no, it's obviously, I was just looking from afar. I was deeply engaged in my conversation in the restaurant, but I kept glancing over at the, when you see a golf shop, you can't.
So you were in Shibuya eating?
Ebisu. Yeah.
Oh, Eastside Golf was in Double Eagle, or was it?
No, it had its own
the-
standalone shop.
Yeah, so that's in between Ebisu and Shibuya, right?
Yeah, maybe Shibuya Bashi or somewhere. It's on one of those little streets.
So earlier, the gentleman that was actually in charge of bringing the CPH Golf brand to my golf course is our advisor, and he's actually the person that's bringing in Eastside Golf into Japan.
Wow, there you go.
There you go.
So I've seen it. It's
Yeah.
good. Very nice restaurant, by the way, as well. Very reasonable. It was right across the street called, I think it was called SCS.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, very cool. Okay, cool. Want to ask you, just as you've played a lot of international golf, as we have established, and most of our listeners are overseas and they're coming to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say is the appeal for Japanese golf?
It's different. Japanese golf is very different from, I think, the closest one would say is Korean golf. But again, a lot of Korean golf was driven by Japanese golf. It just has a different culture around it. I'm pretty sure you guys discussed it. First and foremost is the lunch that you have in between the 9 holes.
Ritualized,
Yes.
I would say.
And it's mostly in the Kanto area. Again, the reason why behind this is because there's several reasons, but in general is to raise sales in general. So Settai golf too. We want people to be drinking. We want people to be eating more. You can put more tea times in, because then you can have a 9 to 10 tea time. So there's a lot of factors in it. If you go to Hokkaido, it's all through play, for example, except the very high end golf courses. But it's just a way of driving more business into the golf course. But again, this all comes from what we were talking about earlier about the membership structure. We had a lot of members, but in general, the membership fees, there's no annual monthly dues here in Japan. So it's not sustainable. The way Japanese golf works is that you have a certain amount of income from the members and then a certain amount of income from the plays that they do. So the country club style is very different. You already have the monthly dues, you have the annual fees and this and that. And that is what makes up the annual budget. So you don't need to stick in, 300 people in the golf course of today. And I think that's the difference of the model of what I think traditional golf courses.
And it all comes from that.
Correct.
What about the golf course design? What do you see are the differences here?
Again, this is a quote that I heard when the PGA or the golfers came to Japanese, the Japan Olympics. They said that in general, the maintenance here in Japan is very good. Even as a public course, you see that the maintenance in Japan is very, very well done. Again, what Japanese traditionally just do is they just like to be perfect at everything.
Put a lot of pride into it.
Exactly. And we do it with very little workers. I think traditionally, compared to what I've heard, with American courses, we have a lot less people doing the maintenance and a lot less, and very basic machinery too. So it's like you said, it's a lot of hard work that's being put in by the workers at the golf course. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for welcoming all the players to KCC over the last 6 years. And if people are interested, of course, they can inquire via the website. I'll also drop a link to Taka's course in the description of this podcast. You're an entrepreneur by heart, like your grandfather before you.
Correct.
Other than the golf business, what other interesting businesses are you into?
So currently I've been working, throughout my entire career, I've been working trying to connect Japan to the rest of the world and vice versa. My company does a lot of consultancy work for foreign companies trying to come into the Japanese market.
Nice.
I started with tech, but then recently I've been working on getting, with the yen being so weak, I found the opportunity of trying to take Japanese product outside of Japan.
Oh, yeah. What kind of products?
So currently a lot of F&B related products. Right now, the first thing that we launched was sake. So we're selling sake overseas. And now I'm working on a
Can we mention which brand?
Sake Ono.
Sake Ono.
Yes,
Okay.
it was actually used in the this year's Masters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Explain.
So the founders of Sake Ono are one of them are a member at Augusta National.
Wow.
And so we had the opportunity of serving our sake in
The Champions Dinner?
yeah, no, at a cocktail.
Yeah.
What was our famous cocktail? What was it called?
Yeah, I forgot the name of
But
it. Joe's the Masters
but
guy.
instead of the vodka or whatever spirit they used the sake instead.
Nice. That's a good claim to fame, isn't it?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't make it there, but hopefully next year. And the second thing I'm working on right now is Japanese wagyu,
The beef.
the beef.
We always, nearly on every show, we mention Japanese beef.
Yeah, so
Wagyu, so very marbled, kind of
Correct.
high quality.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's high quality. It's different. Japanese didn't eat beef up until I think 150 years ago, traditionally. And the reason being because cows. First was religious reasons, but the second was that cows were very expensive and also important for the agriculture. So they didn't eat their god or whatever it was. But
Like the Buddhism, like
yes.
the India. They don't,
Correct.
Cow sacred.
Exactly. And then it wasn't until Japan opened its borders up that the foreigners started coming in Japan, and they started buying cows and meat from the Japanese at a high price, and it was supposedly very good quality.
It is.
And then when the Japanese started eating it again, because it's so expensive, they started cutting it very thinly. And so in Japan, traditionally, we don't have fat, juicy steaks like they do in other countries, and that's not how we eat it. I think the thickest we have is for teppanyaki, which is not even close to what we would call a steak in New York overseas. Exactly. And so the reason why Japanese beef is so marbled and rich is because we eat it very thinly. And so when you have
Like a
small
shabu
piece,
shabu.
exactly. So shabu shabu and sukiyaki are the traditional ways of eating it, and yakiniku, it would be kind of what I guess the modern way of eating it. But again, it's cut very thinly too. So when you have something cut that thin, you need it very, very, very rich.
And where are you distributing this to?
We're starting with Saudi right now.
Okay, cool.
Yes. But we're quickly going to go into other territories. And we're thinking of doing it two ways. Well, first of all, we want to move away from the current A5 is the best, because A5 is the best for certain cuts and certain ways of having it. So if you were to have a picanha steak, which you wouldn't traditionally do with other countries, you probably do a barbecue or roast, it'd be perfect to have an A5. But if you're having a fillet or sirloin or something of the tenderloin area, you wouldn't want to make it too thick, because again, it's just too rich. And I hear a lot of steakhouses in the US and Europe, they say that a lot of people order their wagyu steaks, but they never finish it, And so, I mean, that's one of the reasons why Japanese wagyu is not consumed at that much.
So basically, not eating it how it should be eaten.
Yeah. Again, it's not designed to eat as a steak. So I'm trying to move away from that model and creating, Japanese wagyu in general is just very good quality. Again, from what they eat and how they're raised and everything else too. I mean, people know it. They're pampered,
And they don't eat it like you go in and you eat a big monster steak, maybe with a side or two. Over here, it's like it crescendos into it, in the course of a meal, right? You have your soup, you have your starters, and it goes up, and then you don't need so much quantity.
So we're trying to see if we can create some high quality red meat, moving away from the marble, but having basically 2 or 3 lines of beef where you'll have a steak cut. We'll have a steak line, for example. We'll have one line for steak. We'll have one line for Japanese cuisine. and then we'll have another line for just processed meat, for example, sausages and hamburgers and everything else. But we wouldn't rank every meat by A4, A5, but we just have whatever meats that fits that category at its best, and give them the best meat that possible. And actually, the reason why we say the best meat possible is because our partner is the Wagyu Olympic champion, reigning Wagyu Olympic champion.
From where?
From Kagoshima. So every 5 years they have this thing called the Wagyu Olympics.
We've talked about it here, yeah.
And he's the reigning champion. He's the reigning champion that owns a farm that got the number one prize.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a big deal.
Are we going to see any of these Wagyu steaks at Kanagawa Country Club for lunch?
Very soon. Very soon.
Does it have a name of a brand, or is it just called Kagoshima Wagyu?
No. So we've moved away. So in Japan, traditionally, you have your Kobe beef, you have your Miyazaki beef. It's prefecture names.
Yeah. So your Kagoshima.
And then their beef is called Kagoshima Gyu, but they try to brand it a little bit different. But we've chosen the name Wagyu 10. In the Japanese kanji, 10 means the best, the highest, and it also can sound like 10 out of 10. So
that's nice.
We're just far about just to. But we're moving again away from the traditional way of selling Japanese beef, because again, people when they say associate Japanese beef, they say, where's it from? Kagoshima, this and that. All the beef in Japan are the best, and it's really not the prefecture where it's made, it's who makes it. So
I'm going to start a Wagyu brand. I'm going to call it Wagyu Ichi. Ichiban.
Wagyu Ichiban. There you go.
So we're working with a handful of farmers and different partners in the industry to provide, again, the best beef.
I've learned so much about beef. This is the most I've ever talked about beef in my life. Let me ask you.
Getting hungry, to be honest.
Yeah, right. That leads me to our next question. Where do you think you can get the best steak in Japan, or in Tokyo? Let's say Tokyo, because
I think it's different. I mean, I'm a foodie myself, and when you talk about best restaurant, best golf course, it's the same thing. It's all about preference, right? But I'd say that's something different in general. What you're gonna have is this restaurant called Ginza Kira. It's in Ginza, obviously, but they do steamed beef. So in Japan, traditionally, you cook it like barbecue style. You have it shabu shabu, which is through the broth, or sukiyaki, which is you kind of boil it in soy sauce. This restaurant offers it in seido mushi, which is a steamed beef. They get a special wooden box, and they put 6-7 different kinds of vegetables, and then once it starts steaming, they put the thinly sliced beef in there, and the exchange of oil and the nice aroma of the vegetables. They wrap it around and eat it in soy sauce. It's a different way of eating it, and I don't think they have many of these places here in general in Japan. So it's a very highly recommended place for me when you want to try something different.
Ginza Kira.
Yeah.
Let's try. Okay, and as you're a foodie, and you probably know more than all of us, what about sushi? Everybody wants to eat sushi in Japan. Tokyo, where are we going?
I like to go to this place in Ueno called Kappazushi. So Kappazushi is a very famous chain restaurant in Japan, where they serve traditionally in the
conveyor belt.
Conveyor belt, correct?
Is that just Kanto, or is it all over Japan?
I've seen that.
It's all over Japan.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But I think it's their first shop, or their flagship shop. Looks very traditional. There's no conveyor belt. They serve you.
So no Shinkansens coming up.
No. They serve you actually on a bamboo leaf.
Oh, nice.
But again, it's very cheap, very traditional, very good.
Kappazushi.
Yeah, Ueno's very famous for sushi, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's close to the market and everything else too.
It's close to the zoo, Ueno Zoo. Go see panda and then have some sushi. Okay, I'm mindful of your time. You still okay? I think we've gotten a lot out of you today.
I have 10 minutes.
We've gotten a lot out of you today. I mean, what do you want to talk about? Because there's someone.
I want to hear more about Kanagawa Country Club, because I mean, obviously we know it.
Yeah,
we've been there so many times.
And you're square green.
And you're square green, but it's 27 holes, but the location is amazing.
Yeah.
It's right in the middle of the Sagami area, Sagami-ko Lake there. Tell us a little bit more about that, and like the difference in seasons in the surroundings and everything.
Yeah. So thank you, Damon. So We are located, like we said, just about an hour away from Tokyo, from this man-made dam lake, I guess, what do you call it? Called Sagamiko Lake.
Reservoir?
Yes, reservoir. And thanks to global warming, we can enjoy Kanagawa Country Club at all 4 seasons now. Traditionally, I think maybe 25, 30 years ago, we would close 2-3 months out of the time.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah. Because we're located, I think, 300 meters just above
It's
sea
just,
level.
it gets it.
It gets cool.
And it's a big
enough.
mountain chain there, right?
Yes,
Going all the way
exactly.
to Mount Fuji even.
The closest station is called Fujino Station, which is about an hour away from Shinjuku by train. One train, actually. So that's makes it very accessible by train, too. But at the train station, when it typically is not snowing very hard, it wouldn't snow there, but it would snow in Kanagawa. Even till now. Even today. But I would say in general, we only close 20 days out of the year with snow. So
we were actually talking about it in our December podcast. Remember that the last time I was there, actually, we were playing in December and we were wearing shorts and t-shirt. It was like 22 degrees in December.
Yes, we were. I think up until December, it's pretty warm. And once you dive into January, it drops dramatically. In December, you have just some warm days. You got some cold days. But just in general, the course is very open and has nothing really blocking you. So you have the direct sunlight in you. Right. The summertime can get brutal, but on the other side, like I said, you have a little bit of elevation. So it's a lot cooler than what you experience in Chiba, for example. During the daytime or early in the mornings, you can experience like 24, 25 degrees even in the hot time. And it takes time to get up there to all the way to 30, 35, 37, right? So,
cool.
So, being surrounded by all the mountains, I mean, spring and autumn there is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. The changing of the leaves. It's just amazing.
So, when's the best time for that? November, yeah.
Okay. It used to be like late December, but it's shifting toward.
I imagine you get a bit packed up there, so best to book early. Yep. So if you're coming to Japan in November and you want to see the Koyo at Taka's course, you got to contact us now.
Yeah. And the other time is to come during the spring when the cherry blossoms.
That's right.
There's a lot of cherry blossoms in the course. Again, we try to do it as natural as possible, and not like other courses that plant 300 trees like all over the golf course. So
sorry, we did that.
so
you said it was nice.
Yeah.
Another good thing about Kanagawa is they're receptive to single person reservations.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we send a few people there, and they team up with other singles or other members there, and go around and have a great round. Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, what was I going to say? When is your next game of golf? Where are you playing? Is it Valderrama?
I wish I was playing on Valderrama. It was a very beautiful course, but I'm actually playing on the. No, I'm playing on Saturday maybe.
Okay.
I'm playing. First time I remember playing at night golf.
Oh, wow.
I've never played night golf in my life.
Moon Lake?
I think so.
Moon Lake Ichihara?
I think so, but I've never played at night. I've never played. I heard about it, and
it's nice.
Is it?
We tee off in the just as it's not quite dark. It's kind of a bit darker than this where we are now, but then it goes dark and they just floodlight 9 holes.
Really?
Do you know the latest time you can actually tee off?
10 o'clock.
Yeah. It's really late. Yeah, that's for 9. But if you want to do 18, it's still like 8 o'clock or something.
8 o'clock.
Yeah, so there is a tee time at twilight where you play 9 holes, not under the lights, and then on the back 9 it gets dark, and then you play the other.
I think that's what I'm playing. I think I have a 4 o'clock tee time.
Are you going to bring the luminous balls?
You have to.
I don't think I need it.
You don't because it's floodlit, but it's more fun.
You still need it.
I just hit it on the fairway and the green, so.
All right, let's end the podcast there. I've got to ask one more question. Sorry to jump in. Are you guys closing tomorrow because of this big typhoon coming in?
Oh, yes.
Yep.
So we had a lot of cancellations, and we only had 4 groups that were willing to go, some warriors, but unfortunately we're actually going to close. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Taka, thanks very much for coming in. We'll get you back. We appreciate all of your knowledge that you're openly sharing, and we're very interested in your entrepreneurialism. And we'll get you back in to talk about your next project and more about Kanagawa Country Club. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thanks, Taka.
Thank you.